Go as long as you want.
You fucking rock stars, huh?
Go as long as you want.
Well, cheers, lads.
Cheers.
Cheers, man.
Lovely to see you again.
You too, man.
You do.
So we're backstage at the Grand Social, which is considerably bigger venue than when you last played Dublin, which was Workman's Club. But since then, you've had lots going on. New album, been touring. Which has been the best gig so far this year?
I think London was really good. I really enjoyed London.
Where did you play?
To Lexington in London.
Right.
But I was explaining this actually to, I think, Emmett earlier, the drummer Vernon Jane, about that gig where it started off like on our side in terms of like we were having problems with our in-ears.
Yeah.
And it was a bit annoying, but then it's very hard to come back, I find, as well from something like that if you've like technical problems. But then I just took out my in-ears and we got on with it, and then it just turned itself around and it was amazing. Like the crowd were
like
nuts.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a fuck this shit moment where like
Proper like rock and roll, like
a lot of stuff was going wrong and it was kind of frustrating, and then we were just like, let's just like make this a punk rock show almost.
Yeah.
And the rest of the gig was just amazing. Like,
Amazing.
from that point.
I feel like with those type of gigs where you kind of get a different energy from it. It's kind of that kind of like adrenaline, like 2 middle fingers fuck you, and you just kind of power through, and London was amazing.
And was this post the new album?
Yeah.
Your live solo was released. So, how long after that?
2 weeks, I think.
Oh right, so really new then. Like,
And people were singing the words.
I was gonna
back,
say, yeah,
and it was
really
weird. Obviously, coming from an instrumental band, where it's cool, you see sometimes people being like, when they start playing it, but there was one girl at the London gig. I was saying this to you, who was singing. She knew every word.
Really?
And then same with Bristol as well. It seemed like there was at least, and then at the other gigs, there's at least one or two that, like, it seemed like a lot of people were familiar with the album.
That's
which was
wicked.
mad. Yeah, it was cool.
I mean, you're technically now a post-instrumental, post-rock band.
yeah.
Like, if going by that.
Post instrumental, as in like we used to be instrumental.
Yeah. In that vein of things. So, but you also, so obviously I saw you at Arctangent.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, a festival. If no one's ever been to Arctangent, it's a great festival, isn't it? And it was actually just after you played My House.
We did.
You were in conversations, I think, with James Scarlett, or you were like maybe not, and then you were announced. But am I right in saying you didn't have your gear there? You had to borrow off.
Yeah.
Well, because somebody dropped out basically, and they
Yeah.
were called in to fill in at the last minute, like 2 weeks before the gig or something. And obviously coming from Ireland and getting all the flights and stuff, we were trying to basically come over on the cheap as much as possible.
Yeah.
So now we've toured enough in England that we have we know a lot of people and a lot of friends, so we're able to just get some bits and bobs. I obviously had to bring my pedal board because I can't really do without that.
Yeah.
But like, did you get all your breakables or from other people?
The only thing I had to bring my Roland SPD, the sample pad, but yeah, we borrowed all the breakables and gear and guitar from Soper, who are an amazing band. 2-piece as well, amazing. They gave us like all their gear, and then Chris from And So Watch You From Afar, the drummer, gave me a lend of his sample pad, which I think kind of says it. That kind of thing though says it all about like how cool Arctangent is. That like a band like And So Watch You From Afar, who are literally playing a packed out main stage.
Twice did they play it?
Yeah, they did. Yeah. But like a band that is like playing the main stage will give us like their gear. Do you know what I mean? Though it's like
100%.
everyone's equals.
We always say this, like Arctangent, there'll be a band on at like say 10 in the morning. No one's ever heard of them, and the tent will be packed because people just want to discover new stuff. But your set, like, I mean, you played the year before as well, right? Or
yeah, and
The year before and the year before.
yeah, so it was your third year running, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But I mean, I was in the thick of it. I was on every set.
I saw a video of you, like, you're in the middle of the pit and you had your fucking your shirt around. It's great. It's really good.
But I mean, the crowd just, it was amazing. Like, they love you there. Like, so you got an offer for next year?
No,
I doubt it, to be honest.
Really?
I don't think we'll play 4 years in a row.
I don't know. Like,
we're trying. I think we're trying to push them to go to play at 2000 Trees next year.
Oh, okay, cool.
Obviously now with the vocals and stuff, I think it's a bit more in that sort of genre. So like, hopefully, fingers crossed that we maybe get an offer.
That'd be
2000
wicked.
Trees.
Yeah. But I mean, the new album's been out now. What? A month? Just 6 weeks maybe?
Yeah.
6 weeks like that. And the reactions?
Yeah, man. I mean, everybody's been like really nice. Like we've gotten so many nice words from friends and family and people who like our music in general. Even some good press as well. So like,
Yeah.
it's been nice.
I was looking at the press actually, the reviews before, and you know, I wasn't purposely looking for a bad review, but I was curious to see if there was one, and I couldn't find one. Like everything was like 7 out of 10 or above, and just goes to show. And a couple of things I noticed from the album, I didn't get it as a promo.
Okay.
I waited for the vinyls to come. So
Oh,
I saved it and I didn't touch Spotify. I was like,
Okay,
well, I
yeah.
want the vinyls to come.
Cool.
And the thing that struck me most was, bar the vocals obviously, like as a band, I think you've sort of hit the absolute spot of where you guys want to be. And this album sounds, like even like your drums, Gav, I was listening to like the floor tom, just sounds huge on the record. And I think collectively, as a pairing, the record is like so big, and the songwriting and the structure of all of it is brilliant. And I wonder, the question to you is, do you think now because you're adding vocals, you've got that extra weapon in your arsenal that you can write songs structured better, if that makes sense? Like, you know, you can write chorus, pre-chorus, which you may have done before, but now you've got the vocals to add on. Does it expand your ability to write songs?
I don't think it expands it because I think we were always trying to do that. Like even with the crazy proggy instrumental songs, I always tried to have some sort of like cohesion, like in terms of classic like song structures, like intro, verse, pre-chorus, chorus, all that kind of stuff. Obviously, with instrumental music, it's very easy to kind of go on a tangent, and you know, like sometimes you lose the structure, but sometimes that's actually really the fun part of it. But yeah, for sure on this album with the vocals, it doesn't force you to do that, but it just it makes it easier to have like a proper structure. I don't think it's like expands the songwriting so much as it almost, I think, to be honest, it kind of reduces it in a way, because now you can see that the structures are much more like traditional, whereas before it was a bit more free and crazy and stuff. But I think it's just more to the point and more like, it's just more like catchy bangers. It's just a different thing altogether. Like, I think that's what it is.
And like, in terms of when you were recording this album, were you listening to anything in particular, like any bands in particular, or was it just coming from the same like music you've loved from when you were young, or was there any specific albums that you were listening to that perhaps influenced you? Like, because I hear there's a few tracks on there where I can hear like sprinklings of like Blink-182 at times, and other bands like that. But I just wondered if you had any albums that perhaps.
It's funny that I said Blink-182 there. I think like Green Day probably a big influence, but I'm not sure if that was like a conscious thing. But a lot of people have said Green Day. But it's funny, I said this actually a while ago to maybe another interview, that this was when we first started the band and we were like writing instrumental music. And I remember we were like discovering lots of instrumental bands, like a lot of Art Tangent type bands like Cleft and Alpha Male Tea Party and like Adabisi Shank and So What You're From Afar and bands like that. And that was like when we first started, what, in like 2017, 18, I remember it was like kind of back and forth with bands. Where I felt like there was maybe because we're both living in different countries as well, we were like, I remember you like showed me Touche Amore. Like a lot of, not particularly new bands or anything, but just bands never properly dived into, like Trice for an example. You were mentioning that latest album, like their later stuff, and just kind of diving in. A lot of bands like that, like Touche Amore and Trice, who I never actually really properly got into, but I think they definitely had some sort of influence. They'd be too. Biffy Clyro's an obvious one, and Ruben as well would be. But I think though I love all that. Like I love like NoFX are my favourite band, so it's gonna tap in there.
Somebody mentioned Biffy Clyro, because when I was reading a lot of the reviews, almost everyone was saying Biffy Clyro, and I'm not a fan of Biffy Clyro. I don't listen to them, but it's funny how that kept repeating, and it got me thinking about how they headline Download, and that got me thinking as well for you guys. I'm not actually Download headliners next year, but
2 years.
Like 2 years running, but like for Bicurious now, I think the strength of this album is so good. Do you see yourself, say, in 5 years' time, like, I know it's quite a way away, but the glass ceiling for Bicurious, like, where do you think that is?
I have no idea.
Like, okay, let's short term then, like, say, second stage, Arctangent.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, I think it's kind of difficult. I've kind of switched my mentality a bit over the last while. When I was in my, let's say, early 20s, I was much more, like, focused on, you know, we need to get here, and, like, we need to do this, and this is the objective and stuff. And I think that's a really good way to do it when you're, like, really serious about trying to make it to a certain level. You need to plan things, make a plan, and have a development, like, step by step. But I don't know, I've just kind of gotten a bit tired of that, because there's so much, in my personal, like, mental health, there's so much, like, jealousy and comparison to other artists in that sort of mentality of, like, we need to do this and that and that. And you're looking at other bands and seeing what they're doing, and it's like, oh, if they're doing better quicker than you, then you're a failure kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of pushed me to be a bit more like, you know what, I think it's just more about, we just make our music and just make the music that we really want to do, and obviously do our best to promote it and push it out there. But the whole thing about, oh, we're going to be playing this festival in 2 years, we're going to be playing here in 3 years, it's like, it's really awesome if it happens, but I don't particularly want to think about that too much. And I almost think that it's almost like a better way to just, like, focus on the music and on enjoying what we do and doing it, like, truly, rather than for a reason.
Yeah.
Because then that will, hopefully, if the world is right, people will recognize that, and the music will actually speak for itself, and the music will actually bring us there without us like really reaching for that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know if that.
No, I see what you're saying. You're not, like, trying to force yourself and be like, let's try and get into this venue, or let's try and get support in this band or headline music.
No, we are thinking about that. You know, we have a team, we have a booking agent, we have a label now as well, and they're all thinking about those things. They're always looking for opportunities.
Yeah.
And, like, we think about, okay, this is the next step, but, like, I guess I was more speaking personally, I suppose, that I've kind of removed myself from that a little bit, because it just tends to, like, you know.
Yeah.
Which I agree with, and I feel like that is maybe something that we've done in the past, is kind of like, I suppose comparing yourself maybe to other bands, are like trying to do this stuff, but I suppose it's about doing it for ourselves, really. And I think this album kind of shows that as well, you know, and that was like, I remember in things like, well, people were like, are you happy with it? I was like, yeah, we're happy with it, and to be honest, that's the main thing. But also, I think it's like what we kind of noticed from the UK tour had gone, like, we might not have the biggest fan base in the world, but we have a loyal and strong, as you're well aware, as you really stay in your house, which I think is really nice to, like, truly. So it's like to kind of tap into that, and I think that would be really, I said that to you actually when we were rehearsing today, that it was like, I really felt that on the UK tour just gone, like, it seemed like we spent a lot more time with people at our gigs and kind of tapping into that. But saying all that, if what's Andy Coppin, if is that his name?
Andy Coppin,
if Iron Maiden can't play next year, sure, hit us up, and we might.
We
might.
Depends if Arctangent come first.
Arctangent.
James and Andy just fighting now. Who's playing which festival?
But only if Iron Maiden pull out with that.
No, I think that's a nice point you say that. Like, sort of sticking to your roots, like, not, but, like, you know, people who have followed you from the start, you know. You can see, I can see certainly with this album, there's an upward trajectory, there's a lot of noise around it, and I think over the next few months, years, and I certainly hope so, that you're going to see more opportunities, and I think that's what you're saying, like, you don't want to be setting yourself these goals and then being disappointed, saying, like, comparing yourself to other bands, like, you know, So What You've Done Far, which, you know, they're long established, not to be.
I think they're an example, though.
But I was going to say, I think they're like, because you see all these bands that are like, I was talking about this about Gary the other day. I was going through my Spotify, I didn't know what to listen to, and something came up one of those Spotify playlists that's like hot new bands, you know. So those bands that are like seemingly doing everything right, and they started the band 6 months ago, and now they've got like millions of plays, and they're going to all the cool venues, and they're like really like the hot shit, you know. And then there's bands like And So I Watch From Afar, who seem to just have like steadily grown over the years. I wasn't there back at the start. I only kind of started listening to them a few years ago, but it seems to me like they never got huge. They just kind of like worked really hard, and I feel like that's more the kind of band that we are. That we're just like steady,
Definitely, yeah.
like steadily growing. And
But they have that loyal fan base that I was talking about, and as I said there, like that loyal fan base can fill the main stage at Arctangent, which is huge. So it's like, I think they're actually a good maybe band to compare to to aim to.
Yeah.
I think they're a very good example of that. And I agree with that.
They seem to have a really healthy like mindset when it comes to their music. They're really down to earth, and they've been doing it for a long time. But when you see them play live, you really you get it. They're a proper fucking band when they play live.
Yeah.
It's no bullshit. It's like, and I fucking love that. Like, I think that's great, and I think maybe in terms of the fans, like you're saying, they've got a loyal fan base, and we're cultivating that as well at the moment. And I think maybe with those like hot fucking Spotify bands, like the fans, they're like all for it, and then 6 months later when the new like cool thing comes along, they just switch to the and maybe that's just me, like
that's pop
I don't know
music,
if
though.
it's true, but
Like,
like
I think.
Well, I mean, a good example of that, and you might disagree with me on this one, is Sleep Token, who
You
have
also.
who have like been,
Yeah.
almost like
Be careful.
careful.
I want to
Careful. I'll tell you, off record, I'll tell you on them after. But they seem to be like, do you know when like the X Factor was on, and this band just went from being this group of lads to stardom? That's what Sleep Token was like. It's just gone from like they released a song, and all of a sudden they're selling out Wembley.
They're headlining
10
downloads.
minutes. And headlining downloads.
If they pull out as well, alright, we'll play a Sleep Token pull out.
But yeah, that's another sort of thing, like that band just go, like you said, from that to that, and whether the next they could be gone in.
I think didn't they say they were going on hiatus or something? I feel like I saw something like that.
Motley Crue.
You hope so.
What?
I think their music is really cool, but it's very much on the poppy side of metal for sure.
Yeah, we'll offer.
Yeah.
But yeah, come back to your fans. Like, I mean, you fundraised. What's it called? The GoFund.
Well, we did it through our website,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
It is like a GoFundMe.
GoFundMe. That's what I was
It's
trying to
that
get.
type. It's a fundraising campaign. But
And your target was what?
$8,000, I think it was.
yeah.
And
On
you
the
finished
target.
at
We
9,
9 point something. Yeah.
which is phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
and I assume you could see like the people who sent you the stuff. Like, could you see their locations as well? Like,
Yeah.
was
yeah,
it worldwide? Was it?
pretty much?
Yeah.
Yeah? That's amazing.
I mean, I think like the big chunk of it was like Ireland, UK. And then there was people all across Europe, and I think it was probably like US and Australia.
Wow.
as well, like, yeah.
That's
It
incredible.
was actually, speaking of that London gig, 2 people flew from Budapest to our London gig,
Yeah.
and they donated as well.
Wow.
So shout out to them. That was insane that they
Yeah.
traveled. Yeah.
Shout out to that, absolutely.
Yeah, there's people from all around, and we did an album listening party as well, actually. But on Zoom when we released.
Yeah.
But there was people from all. That was really cool as well, because there was loads of people from America actually on it, and like you said you were recognizing loads of the name from people who bought merch from the years, and it was really cool because at the end we were asking people where they were from, and it was really cool to put like a face, I suppose, to just names on an email.
Yeah,
The merch
for sure.
order, and I made it really. I suppose that's also another thing where just that like tapping into that fan base. I feel like we've been really doing that on just this album cycle, and it's really shown it to me, because the first album, Reconstructed, we released that during COVID, so it's a very different fucking approach, and like it's been really cool. But like seeing like the members' support we've gotten this album, it's genuine. Like I couldn't believe it, to be honest, and I'm not just saying, like I was very surprised. I think anyone would be like.
But I think fans like that they're buying into part of your history. Like,
Yeah.
And I remember you on this album, the run up to it, like you doing Instagram lives or Facebook lives, whatever, and seeing names pop up and you both going, that's so and so from here and that's so and so from there. So that's really nice as well to actually interact with fans, because I think when you get up to that level of Iron Maiden, etc.
It's a big disconnect.
You're still a fan. Disconnect is exactly the right word. Like, you're still a fan, but being able to just like meet you guys in the bar after a gig or before the gig, it makes that a bit more personal. The other thing I want to talk about, I just watched you sound check, and Taryn, you said there about you're not going to sing outro because you don't want to wreck your voice. So how is the voice holding up now that you've obviously recorded the album and now you've been on tour, so is it what you'd expect or is it struggling or?
It's just a real learning process. I mean, like, so for the UK tour, that was like that we did a month ago. That was like the first time I properly like did a tour where I was singing every night. And the first show in Glasgow, I had been sick for the last like 2 weeks beforehand, and I was terrified because I was like, I know for a fact that my voice is not going to hold up, and I was really nervous. I was like really bad, so I had these like vocal zone things. They're just like little kind of gums that you take, and they just kind of keep your throat hydrated. And our manager Alex told me to take 2 just as I go onto the stage, and just keep them in my mouth while I'm singing, and it's just going to keep my throat hydrated. So I did that, and I got through the show, and I was like, okay, cool, this is actually like pretty good. And then I got through the entire tour, and no, not an issue. Like, so today I'm kind of feeling a little bit like it might go, it might not, but I feel like the vocal zone is going to save me. So
give us an endorsement, vocal zone. I think they're like a pharmaceutical company as well, but whatever. Just go on.
But yeah, it's been a real learning process, like learning how to like take care of the voice, and I don't do it nearly as well as I should, but I kind of know what I really shouldn't do, which is belting something at sound check. You know, like something that I know is when I do play, I really have to push to get to those high notes. So I was like, I'm gonna sing it at the octave lower for sound check. So like,
I mean, Cannibal Corpse is not an ideal sound check, so
but also a song that we've never played before as well. Like that's gonna be the first time we've played that tonight was Crumble.
Really?
And we're only playing it as well if we get an encore, and we mean like an actual encore. Like people want an encore, so
as in chanting encore.
Yeah. So if you want it, just do it.
Just I'll start it off, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And are you having to do are you doing vocal warm-ups and all that stuff, or are you sort of like
depends? It's weird because actually Arctangent was the one time where my voice just went this summer. I think
before, not during, after.
It was just during the show. I sang. I think I sang one song, and then my voice just went. And it's funny because I had just warmed up like for like half an hour before the show, and I was like, that's weird. And then for the previous tour, then UK, I didn't warm up at all before any of the shows, and it was fine. So like maybe I should.
So you're still finding that balance. Just a couple more questions then, for because I know with shows obviously coming up, but I mean set list wise now, you've got a really great catalogue of songs to choose from, and I was listening to the new album on the way in today to meet you guys, and I was thinking, as much as I'm not a fan of these things nowadays, like bands playing albums in full, I was thinking this is an album that you could literally play back to front and it would get a great reaction. But also I was thinking, geez, like you've got so much other stuff in there, like the classics like I Don't Do Drugs and blah blah. But
it is a tongue twister. It actually is.
And like Fake News and all that stuff. Like, so you've got a real great catalogue now. Is it getting to the stage now where it's getting annoying picking a set list? Is it? Yeah.
It's funny though. We were saying because we played actually in your house, reconstructed that song but then we played it all the time. Then we were like that because we do a whole bit where like we get the crowd down. That song ends up being like 10 minutes. So it's like we could take that song out and put in like three other songs. So that's gone out of the set, but we're still like, I feel it's about maybe 6 new songs, maybe.
Wow.
Like this is on average 6 new songs, maybe 5.
I think that's perfect though.
Could be less, I don't know. But because we still want to play, like I think we both enjoy playing the old songs as well. Also, what you were just talking about, the vocals also gives you a rest.
Also, the vocals gives me a break between 2 songs for sure. Yeah.
Is that what you do? Is it like you sort of do?
Yeah, we try
vocal,
to like
instrumental vocal.
Yeah, sometimes there's like 2 vocal songs in a row, but yeah, we try to like split them throughout the set.
I also think that when you go to, like when I go to a gig, it's quite good seeing a band as well. Say they play some old stuff and then they'll play a new song. You know, that balance as well.
Absolutely.
Because I think it's like a flow. I think we try and put some thought into that, like the flow of a set. You know what I mean? Where it's like, the flow.
I mean, the set list at my house was perfect.
Yeah.
Like, thanks so much. Like, honestly, I had my mum there, my sister, her husband, who hates metal. Like I know you know, but after you guys left, he was like, "That was so much fun. I had so much fun, and it was great. Like you played, I think you played Coming Around,
Yes.
Yeah, we
which
did.
I think was certainly a debut in my house. Not
Yeah.
sure what.
Yeah, I think was that the first. No, I think we
I
played
played
it
in the
maybe.
sound house that time.
Yeah, once before. Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't there.
But well, the second, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's pretty much. Well, you can have it. You have it.
I'll take it. Yeah.
You take it.
But no, I'm really looking forward to tonight. I think it's going to be great. I hope that it's packed because it's a great venue here. And so, I mean, the tour's going to obviously go down to, you're doing Cork, Limerick,
Yeah, we're doing so.
Belfast, Cork, Limerick.
Belfast,
Yeah,
Limerick,
that's
yeah. And then you'll obviously break for Christmas, and then next year.
Yeah, we've got a few dates already announced for the UK.
Strange Forms, we're playing that. Strange Form Festival in
Okay.
Leeds.
Never been there.
Never been there, no.
Awesome.
Great.
Oh, Leeds or
Yeah, Leeds. Yeah.
I've been to Leeds.
Around
but not
Strange
Leeds.
Forms.
Strange Forms is a really cool festival.
Yeah.
Basically, like similar to Arctangents, all those kind of like post-mathy bands
Cool.
and stuff. It's really
It's
really
in
cool.
the Brunel Social Club, that venue. So
Right.
it's amazing.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that not shutting down?
Is it? Oh no, that's Boom. I think is the next
That's right,
one.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like a hardcore venue, but
Yeah.
yeah. So we're playing that, and then there's a good few more dates in the UK in around that time of Strange Forms, I know, and we're playing in Brighton as well. We haven't played in Brighton, and we played Brighton like twice with the Great Escape as well. So
That'd be amazing.
so we're playing Brighton, the headline show there will be fun, and Aldershot where Ruben are from, so that's gonna be cool. So.
Aldershot. Such a weird,
Yeah,
random
Yeah,
place in the UK.
There's a promoter there who really likes us, and we played there before, and it's just like it's nice. Yeah. It's
Yeah, yeah.
Oh.
So,
And then what about Europe? Karen,
plans.
obviously Europe. There's plans, is there?
Yeah.
There
Oh, I
are
won't
plans,
push
yeah,
it, I won't push it, but-
we're still figuring it out because it's funny. Like we've realized that obviously now we have a booking agent, so they're supposed to look after that stuff. But like, and they do. But it's I've realized from living in Germany that things work very differently there.
More
they-
efficient?
No.
Oh, really?
Well, it's just different, like because it's very like over there. There's a lot of underground shit going on, you know. Whereas here, most gigs happen in like venues.
Oh, so yeah.
Whereas like over there, it's all about like kind of illegal sort of places, squats, and like venues that are not really like pubs. They're just kind of like weird, like run down places, and it's all about nothing is advertised on Facebook or anything. It's all about like group chats and everything.
Oh, no way.
It's really weird the way it works, but it's really interesting. So like learning how to navigate that scene is kind of what we're doing at the moment. But yeah, we'll definitely be playing there next year for sure.
Sweet. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Well, guys, thanks so much. I've got a record for you to sign for me.
Okay.
So I'm putting on here that they're going to sign it because when I sell it on eBay, it'll be legitimate signatures
Yeah.
for like 10,000
I
euros.
should
So.
sign it as Steve Harris as well from Iron Maiden. Yeah. We will replace them at download if it comes up. Just
But that's always a pleasure chatting to
Yeah,
you.
you too,
Thanks for your
Joey,
time.
thanks,
And look, to the show.
Yeah.
This one, dude.
Darren.
Oh yeah.
That's from my mum as
There we
well.
go.
She
Yeah,
said
yeah,
sorry.
exactly.
Hi, mum.